allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Carmen, let's see, do we have any citizen concerns that were brought up? No one's here?
Nope.
Okay. We'll move on to the approval of the minutes from previous meeting, which is June.
We're gonna have one in July.
Yeah.
Have you seen it, Dave? Okay, remember? And I'll make a motion to approve it.
And I'll
Second. Carmen, can you give us an update on the trustees report?
Okay, in June, we helped 12 families, and in July, we helped 16 families. Yeah, and we have had to cut our limit back to $1,000 a family, because Centerpoint is one of our problems. People are getting 500 plus electric bills. It's never had over $300 ones.
Yeah.
So they're having problems.
Definitely. Can you give us an update on cemetery?
Okay, for June, July, the old Boonville Cemetery, all the gravestones, needed repair on that one up there. He, treated them all. And if you haven't been up there lately, he did a beautiful job on straightening them, finding ones pieces to ones, that big one has a slat over the whole thing. He redid it, put it all back together and got the names where you can read it off the top of it now. And it looks so much better. The repair on Fuller Low is finished. There was some that needed to be straightened back up, and I think we have a new extra mower that he had to hire some help, and I believe it got hit and moved, but he went in and straightened it up for us. The Low Fuller's finished. Mount Pisgah, having trouble getting into it. The trees are down across the entrance where it's hard enough to get back there anyway, because he has to have a four-wheel drive vehicle to get back there, and he has to go across the longhorn field, as they call it. He's got longhorn steer in there.
Okay.
And he has to get across it to get to it, because
Yeah, it's off John Bull Road.
yeah,
Yeah.
and the road that used to go to it is a ditch washed out across it, and you can't get back through it that way. So that's a problem that I need to see what kind of fixing we can do on that road to open it back up, instead of him having to go through the man's property and stuff. But the man was supposed to take care of this when Kenny Durr.
No, when Kevin
Durr was
trustee.
here.
They let the owner take over.
Yeah.
Taking care of it.
He bought the property, and he said he would take care of the graveyard, and it got so growed up that it was hard to get in there and even get it cut back down.
Do we have an easement through there for a road?
There,
It is, yeah, there's a drive that used to be there, and that's the drive you can't get into.
No, but is it an easement,
Yes.
illegal?
no, there's
No.
no legal easement or
No,
anything on that.
legally.
You think families even try to get there?
The only people I know who, because I haven't even set eyes on it myself, I got back there as far as I could, because if you take that gravel road right after John Bull Road, there's a little gravel road for the guardrail. If you take that road as back as far as you can, and then get out and start walking the woods, you'll run into that creek that washed the rest of the way out,
Yeah.
and unless you've got, I mean, it's pretty deep. I mean, So unless,
Yeah, you can't
there's no
drive.
water in it really, it's just like a big ditch, but I'm sure there's water in it sometimes, but
I just wonder how many graves are back there.
I'm not sure. The only people I know that's even been back there is the cemetery hoppers group on Facebook. And I know they went back there a couple of years ago or so and took pictures of it, and there were a couple of really large monuments back there, but I
Mhm.
wanna say, I don't know, maybe 2 of those and then maybe a couple others. So I'm not sure. to
I've
be
not been
honest.
back in there.
There's just no way to get
I'm not
back
gonna
there.
go back in there.
Where is it?
Mount Pisgah?
I wouldn't go back
Okay,
there with the
there's
hornets,
John
that's for
Boulevard.
sure.
Okay.
No.
Yeah,
Well,
and he
that's
said
your-
the trees are across
Over
the
here where
entrance
it's,
where he goes in
Is that it?
to mow and stuff. And he said the hornets were buzzing all
No,
around.
That's
and
the
I said,
road, there's the road.
Yeah, that's that guy's building back there. So it's back, cause you have to go all the way up here and around and then it's back.
It's this little square.
Yeah, I bet it's back there.
But anyway, I said, you know, it's a problem, I don't know.
Well,
how-
Travis has
how
been
to
doing his
solve.
best to go back there
He
and
has.
weed eat and stuff, but
He
now that the
does
hornets
more
have taken
weed
over,
eating than
and he's
mowing.
allergic to them, so.
Yeah, he's allergic. I said, don't go back in there, Travis.
You say you have to get there from, say it's John Bull?
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
John Bull Road.
Okay.
Or like I
Yeah,
said,
so
you
where
can take
you're
that
gonna
gravel
Go
road.
through Squaw Creek?
No.
Oh, back here,
You're right.
John Bull,
There,
okay,
yeah, you'll go to the end of here and you're going to this field that's right there,
got it.
a little bit.
Yes, tiny.
So good lord, how would you get back there? That's a long little gravel road to maintain back there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Apparently that's how they used to do it, and then it got washed out and then never got repaired, so. I don't know who is the guy that owns
The property,
this section here that used to go back to it.
Somewhere the giant barn is right there.
Yeah, there's a giant barn there.
they built kind of
I
right
know
in
it's
the
not,
roadway.
it's not a very friendly
Right.
app.
JAJN Properties LLC. Owner address is 261, so he's done the bar.
Yeah, the one day I went back there with Debbie when she was still here, and he was back there, he didn't care that we were back there, but
Just give him a heads up.
he didn't care the cemetery hoppers were back there either, but, you know, it's like, I mean, I don't know how far they had to, I don't know if that's how they went, or if they, I'm sure they didn't
Pull up
go
Squaw
on the
Creek
skiers,
and
I'm sure
walk
that's
in.
how they went.
But he didn't take care of it after he said that he would. He said he'd take care of it and stuff, and he didn't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
And he let it get grown up pretty bad.
So we'll have to do some more investigating on that one to see what to do about it.
We'll go next to an update on the new business for 2027 budget.
Okay, I've got our budget, so there's a lot to explain, okay?
Yeah.
So, we had our meeting with the DLGF rep, and, we are going to ask for the max levy amount this year, because since we keep running out of money to help people and stuff, and I do know like our rent is probably gonna go up next year for here, because it hasn't went up in almost 8 years since I've been here, so it's been the same, $400 a month, so it's definitely going up next year. Well, actually, it'll go up starting in October, I think, cause that's when her lease is up. So I know that's going up, and then of course, we all know Centerpoint's gonna keep going. So we did ask for we did get this year, instead of a 4% increase for the growth quotient, it went up to 6% this year. So we get that 6%, and then plus we're gonna ask for the max levy amount, which will almost double our budget from what it is this year. We do not have to do the capital improvement plans, because we are not on they changed all of that too.
Mhm.
So they came out with this spreadsheet where you enter in your stuff, and, according to their worksheet or whatever, we did not meet the threshold to where we have to have a capital improvements plan.
Will we meet it if we adjust our budget next year?
Nope. So, we'll probably never meet it, to be honest, unless they change, cause you have to be 150% of the township's total annual budget estimated. And we don't meet that, So we'll probably not have to do that unless, I'm sure they're gonna change the rules again. They always do, because this is even changed, they changed this even after they changed the rule last year. Now what we did last year, they changed it to where we didn't even have to do that, what we did last year for the CIP. So, but they changed that rule this year, so it's
Do they
confusing.
need copies of that?
But that's what the, Abby with Coonrod, the CPA firm that we use, sent me. The other thing is, there's two other things. So, and the DLGF rep, Robert Norris, told me this isn't gonna happen again. So last year, when they changed how we do the budget stuff in Gateway. They have a whole new program now, it's called Budget 2.0, okay? It's changed totally how we enter in numbers and how the program works and everything. So last year, when we put in our budget numbers, everything's in budget, in Gateway, the numbers are all in there. But for some reason, when our forms printed out, it put our park and rec fund at 0. So it almost looks like we asked for a reduction, even though the numbers are still in Gateway the way they're supposed to be. So he said, there's really, the only way to fix it, because if we hadn't already spent $2,000 out of it to give to Studio B, it would be no big deal. But right now, it looks like we overspent that budget, because that budget's at 0 when it should be at $6,832. So it's an easy fix. What we have to do is, when we have our public hearing on the 15th of September to do our public hearing on the budget, so people can come and ask things about it, we'll have to do a public hearing to do an additional appropriation to cover that $6,832. So it'll just come right back
In
out of our.
September?
Yeah, so
But-
it'll just come
But
right
it
back
got
out.
through all of us.
It was already budgeted, it's just not,
But there was a 0 there that we missed.
yeah, everybody missed it.
I mean, everybody missed
But
it.
it didn't pull out of the program either. He said it could be when you were putting things in, he said you could have pressed something early before you printed out the form or he said, who knows? He said, I guarantee you that won't happen this year though. The way the program
Yeah.
works now,
The
that won't
numbers a
happen.
lot.
Cause I'm like, I checked errors and all that stuff. There were no errors. In fact, I was so happy last year, cause I was like, first year ever, not a single error, you know? And then that happened. So he said that will not happen this year, cause the program's different now. So we'll have to do that. And then the other thing we'll have to do is our rainy day budget currently, there's like 94,000 in it right now, okay? The projected what we're gonna get for when we get our taxes in December is gonna be 12,000. What we have the budget set right now for 2027 for the rainy day is 133,560. Well, 12,000 plus 94,000 isn't gonna cover, we're gonna be short. So he said you can do one of two things. He said, the only way you can do this rainy day budget as 133,560 is if you reduce your budget for it this year, and then that way it saves that money. Cause they have to assume you're gonna spend all your budget, every dime of it, even though we know we're not. I mean, we've only spent $749 out of that now. So, I mean, there's 99 point something % left of that budget. So, what we have to do this year is we have to do a resolution to reduce the budget for the rainy day for this year, so that it'll cover next year's budget, what we want it to do. If we don't do that, he said the DLGF is gonna set your rainy day budget for the 12,000. And that's all you'll have for that budget. So,
Yeah, it'll drop it immensely.
so I talked to the Abby at Coonrod, the CPA, and she said, since we've only used 749 out of it, and there's really no reason for us to use, we don't use much out of it anyway, if anything. So she's gonna, if you guys are okay with it, she's gonna drop it down to 10,000, reduce it to 10,000 for the rest of this year, and then that money will just go towards our budget next year, and then that'll fund the rainy day for next year. if you guys are okay with that. You guys will just have to sign a resolution to reduce the budget for the rainy day in this, when we do the September meeting. And she's gonna get all that paperwork ready and everything too. So,
Okay.
we won't have a reduction on anything else, just the rainy day, so.
Good.
Okay, and then with us taking the max levy, it is going to increase our tax rate. But there's a tax cap of $3,298, so it is gonna almost double the tax rate, but it has to cap at $3,298, so it's really not gonna be that much effect as far as anybody seeing any kind of, major differences or
Well,
anything.
we've stayed at 4 for 8 years now, you've been at 4.
Well, what we've done is, we've been at 4% for the growth quotient, but
Yeah.
we haven't taken our max levy for the last 2, 3, maybe 3 years now. We've taken 25% less of it. So we're gonna add that 25% back that we weren't taking before. So it just means we're gonna get a bigger piece of the pie when we get the property tax money and all that stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So that was with that, so. It went well otherwise, it just, with the rainy day, yeah. That has to be, we have to do that, and then they said we're gonna go up on the, and then we have to do the public hearing for the, park and rec fund, so. Oh, also another change, our tax money that we get, so we get the, income, the federal income tax, the CBET tax, and then the excise tax. So, last year they made a change that this year, when we get the FIT and the CBET tax, they don't separate it anymore, you just get a lump sum now, and they don't tell you, okay, this much goes to general fund, this much goes to park and rec, this much goes to, assistance fund, or whatever, they don't do that anymore for these two funds. Starting this year, they just get one lump sum, and then you just put it in your general fund, or you have to have the board figure out where else you wanna put it. But if you put it in the general fund, it can be used to pay for whatever. You're not like limited to where, well, this much can only be here. Yeah, it's not line item. Well, they're gonna do the same thing to excise tax starting next year. So when we get our tax, distributions next year, everything's just gonna go in the general fund now and not be itemized out anymore. They're just gonna give you a lump sum and say, here,
That's
put it
it.
where you want it.
And we'll know where we wanna put it, so we'll just
Yeah.
let it go from there.
If you only put it in the general fund and you just put it in the general fund, then you just kinda use it for whatever you wanna use it for. And then he said, if you put it in the general fund, then you just adjust your levies and stuff, he said that's the easiest thing to do. If you end up trying to figure out, okay, this much is gonna go in general fund, this much is gonna go into assistance, this percentage is gonna go, if you start doing that, State Board of Accounts says that the board has to decide that and approve that. So you guys would have to figure out where you want stuff to go.
Where you want the money.
Yeah, but he said if you just put it in the general fund, there's no approval needed or anything, and then you can just
Move it.
wherever you want, you just use it, and then you just adjust your levies, and then that's that. That's the easiest thing to do. So, I assume that's probably what most people are gonna do, cause again, if you start piecing it out, you're kinda locked in to where that's what you always have to do then, and then you're kinda stuck not being able to, cause you find out, well, actually, I need more money in there, then you're kinda stuck with what you got, so. So, that's how that went. Any questions?
No.
That meeting is September 15th.
Yes, the public hearing meeting is set for September 15th.
You kind of dropping down the points here, you talked about CBRE and Old National Bank, and mentioned rent may go up, also that they're still working on window problems in the trustee's office and replacing the toilet.
Yeah. Well, and they
Kind of roll that into one.
replaced the other toilet in the women's restroom too,
Okay.
because it wasn't flushing very good, and we put a thing on it because people aren't gonna, they don't stand there and hold it down.
Yeah.
So it'll all go.
Yeah.
And so I
They
put a
just-
big.
I think they saw Carmen's
Yeah,
sign
they
and was
did a
like, I
job
think
there.
we'll just replace this
So
toilet.
now there's all new toilets up here.
Well, nice.
Yeah.
No
Nice.
problem. And my window, the one that leaks is the one that they're gonna probably have to replace.
They're trying to figure out
How
to do it.
Yeah,
Old business, looks like,
Couldn't think of any old businesses.
Business.
I didn't think of anything we tabled or anything.
no, and, I haven't been to a meeting in a minute, so, assume website up and
That's what I
running.
was getting ready to say.
Yeah,
it's
website's
fine.
Let's talk
up
about
and running.
website.
Old
Yeah.
business.
Have you guys been on it?
I've not been on it yet.
I
so-
put it on our Facebook, so you
Okay.
can go to the link. It looks
We'll
really
check that
nice.
out.
I really
It
like
does look nice.
It's pretty. There's
We
a lot of
need to
good,
blast that out there then too.
Yeah.
I mean, you
there's a
know,
lot of good
Yep.
free resources, like lists of
Make
free
sure that's
resources
shared.
and things on there too.
Share on Facebook. Banking reports for May and June to be approved.
it's nice.
I'm sure you all have looked at these ahead of time as well. You wanna go ahead and, get a motion to approve May?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve May 2026 banking reports.
Second.
In July, it should be ready when?
I just got those last week, so I would've had
When
them
do you
done.
have them done?
Well-
You've had them a week.
I would've had them done, but then if I put them out there, you'd be like, I can't approve these, I just got them today. I have to look
Can I
at
get
them.
a motion to approve June's?
I'll make a motion to approve June's banking
I'll
reports.
second it.
So I didn't even bother, so. I'll probably get them done tomorrow.
No, don't you get them done that quick for John.
Yeah, I like to have a good, give me a month to review.
Give me at least a month, at least a month.
Looks like we already have, next meeting scheduled for October 13th, September and October. So
Yeah,
September
yeah.
15th and
Yeah.
October 13th,
Okay.
at 4:15.
If you guys want to change those dates,
15.
you know, 15th's pretty set in
Yeah,
stone,
it's
but, the Form 3 that lets everybody know about these dates has to be submitted no later than September 5th, if we're keeping the September 15th date. So,
I think we need to keep them as they
Yeah.
are.
yeah,
Good,
September 15th, I'm still here.
yeah, deadlines.
you're good then?
Yep.
Okay,
Leave that a week.
and October
I'm still here.
13th is okay too?
At the moment, yeah.
Okay.
No reason not.
We'll be back from our conference by then too, so. We moved our ITA conference to October this year, so. They had a mix up with the hotel apparently.
Gotcha. Anything else to cover that we're missing?
I move that we adjourn.
Move the way adjourn, and I'll second that. Glad to see everyone again.
Yeah,
Madam.
Yes.
everyone say bye to Facebook.
Bye, Facebook.
Bye, Facebook.